When you help someone say yes to spend money in exchange for benefits of what your product or service offers, you in essence are helping them rationalize the decision.
Right.
I really believe, I know we're all maybe called professional salespeople, but I think we could have been called professional rationalizers for others, because that's our whole life. Someone calls you on the phone and they just want information. You ask them the right questions and suddenly you've got their name and phone number for follow-up. They don't want to meet you, a salesperson, they're afraid of us. But you ask the right questions and bingo, you have the time to visit with them. So from the moment you go into this business called selling, realize our job is to help qualified people who have a need and desire to own the benefits of our product, rationalize that decision to say yes. And then of course, number 12, you ask the questions that close them on the purchase. And of course, this would be what we have always called first a test close. And I'll tell you, this little test close, after you've given them all the information about the product, the service, you've covered the money, they know the financing, and when you just simply say, John, how are you feeling about all this so far? What a great question. I didn't ask you to buy. I didn't say, well, shall we write her up?
Right.
I said, how are you feeling about all this? Then, of course, you give me input. Why don't you just say that to me, Tom? It sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, Tom, it sounds pretty good to me, really.
You know what I think we ought to do based on your statement? Why don't we just draft up our feelings on the paperwork? Then we can sit back and take a look at it. Then you'll be able to know if we should do this. How's that sound?
It sounds like psychotherapy. I like it.
It sure does. So did you have a middle initial?
Yeah.
Now I go on to the paperwork. That little sentence. How are you feeling about all this so far? It's a beautiful question.
Well, and the beautiful part about it is how easily you segue, because naturally they're going to say, well, I think it's sounding pretty good. They don't feel any pressure because you're not saying sign anything, buy anything. Just how do you feel? I think it's sounding okay so far, and I love that. Then what do you say we just draft your feelings in this document? Then you can make the decision. That's what's so brilliant, is that it's not, well, make the decision, then I can draft it. It's, let's draft your feelings in this document, and then we'll see, then you'll know if you want to do it or not.
And here's something else I want you to remember. You'll hear this a couple times in the program. When you say to someone, why don't we draft up our feelings on the paperwork and see how it looks, some of them will say one of two things. Some of them will say, well, that's fine. We're not going to sign anything. Now, when they say we're not signing anything, just be very nice and say, I know, John, and believe me, that's the last thing I'm going to ask you to do.
The very last thing.
Yes, it's down here for their approval. Or you can also say this. When they say, we don't want to sign anything, or they'll say this to you. Will you let us take this home and look at it? Whenever they say a question like that, I don't want you to say yes. I want you to simply say, we believe in doing anything the client wants us to do. Okay? So I didn't say, yeah, you're going to take all our forms home. We want to do it. Now, if I'm a pro, I will overcome that area of concern. I'll be able to do such a great presentation that you'll be so enthusiastic about saying yes and owning the benefits of the product that I probably won't hear that again. So the questioning is so fun.
Yeah.
And I think that anyone who's been watching, if they'll just say to themselves, if I can find a way to ask instead of tell, that's what I'm going to do from now on. And again, realize a couple things. Make sure they know the answers to questions. Don't ask them a big technical question that threatens them. Right. And try to always say, the answer to the question confirms I'm getting an agreement. I'm getting them to go further into the final purchase.
Yeah.